Conservative grifter Tim Pool was featured on the Majority Report. In addition to regularly lying to his audience, Tim Pool has a couple of things about him you ought to know. Number one is he has got a terrible musical act. I have heard exactly one of his songs for about 30 seconds, and I wasn't even angry. I was just bored. And he lives in a gigantic house, and he pays people to pretend to be his friends. And he desperately, this man who's eyeballing 40, desperately wants kids to think he's neat. He wants to impress kids. Now, you can impress kids at any age, but at a certain point, the way to guarantee, and that point is when you are born, the way to guarantee that you will not impress anybody or convince anybody that you're cool is to make a big deal about how cool you are. Here's Sam Cedar just annihilating this guy.
This is really funny. You know that thing where, like, when someone's feeling really defensive about something, they don't want you to know that they're feeling defensive about it, but it becomes so obvious. Like, it's sort of a, she doth protest too much type of situation. And where they're just really trying to sell some idea about themselves, but their whole notion of selling it undercuts the premise of what they're trying to sell about themselves. How do I express this? You know what? Instead of expressing it, let's just play this clip. Clip number 11.
Could not do a pop shove it. Basically saying I was terrible at skateboarding, I didn't actually know how to do it, and I was bad. Now, why would they do that? Why would they lie? They don't want someone like me who's challenging their lies to be seen as culturally influential or in any way having some kind of skill or cool factor, right?
Oh, Sammy and the gang are going to tear into it, but I just gotta. So he's here talking about politics and 37 charges for a former president, yada, yada, yada. Cut to the middle of Tim Pool's show. They're saying I can't do a pop fly, an ollie on a skateboard or whatever nonsense. That, we really think that's the important thing here? Look at that face. Look at that face. It hurt him. For the record, Tim Pool is a gigantic dork. Also, he used to walk around the office back in his days where he was actually employed by respectable journalist organizations in a flak jacket. And you would think, oh, well, was he a war reporter? Sort of. Sort of. He wrote about battles and such, but he didn't actually go to them. And his coworkers say he pretty much just was on Twitter all day, because that's what he cared about. But he wore a flak jacket, as though he went to the dangerous places. So, very much a wannabe for his entire life.
And you don't got to think skateboarding is cool. A lot of people don't. My point is, we here at Timcast work out of a large mansion with 2 indoor skate parks, an outdoor skate park, for the most part, and music recording studio, and there are pro skaters and rock stars who work here. Now that should be cool factor, right? MTV Crib style. In fact, when we put up the video doing a breakdown, a tour, maybe we should do another one. It got like 600,000 views overnight. This is something that would inspire people. A regular person who says, how can I be successful? How can I live the dream? So they have to lie about it and say things.
Timmy, you can have only a measly $2 to your name and be incredibly cool. because you can't buy it. You just gotta be it. And I'll tell you, if you ain't it, the mansion won't make up for it. Oh,
things like it's a cult or a
such a
compound.
waste.
They have to make sure they control the narrative so that you don't see a path forward, a successful path
Get 'em,
in the
Sam.
world that we are building.
To come hang out at my compound. With the skate parks, which are cool.
Yeah, they're definitely cool. They're super cool. Two skate parks indoors. Yeah, it's like this is what a 13-year-old kid's idea of like a cool house is. I mean, I thought about that kind of stuff. I was like, wouldn't it be so cool if I had an indoor pool and like a water slide that went into it so I could go in the winter, and then like also an outdoor pool in my house, and then maybe I could skateboard with my Razor scooter all around and then record music. That would be awesome. That's what the house is. Screams out to me.
The idea that I am cool because of my house is almost all you need to know about the way that Tim's brain works. That is his cool factor. And apparently and I don't know who he's talking about that says he can't do skateboard tricks as a way of sort of undermining his influence with his audience. But I think if you've got to brag about how cool your house is, maybe it's not that cool. Maybe MTV Cribs also hasn't been cool in literally a couple of decades.
I don't think that show is even on anymore. No.
I think it was like rebooted, a couple of years ago, maybe, but it's a show from like 25 years ago.
It was hosted
like
by Exhibit. Do you know who Exhibit is, Sam?
No, I don't. I'm not cool. So I don't know. But I'm also curious as to
Point of contention. Sam Cedar is cooler than the other side of the pillow. But yes, Tim Pool, no one gives a damn about MTV Cribs. If y'all get it, this guy's a dork. Let's let Sam get one more dig in.
like what he means by being an influencer. Because I feel like there's some times where he's had to say, just because someone watches me doesn't mean that I influence them. It's interesting. It's quite
he's
a
trying to be
dilemma.
aspirational for his audience. They too can have multiple skate parks and a rock and roll hangout.
Isn't there? Yeah, that's my inspiration there. I mean, it's sort of like who was that guy? The Homes of the Rich and Famous show that
Robin Leach.
Yeah.
Robin Leach, indeed. But
Related note, we got to go back to making the rich and maybe not the famous. You can get famous for all sorts of things, but certainly we got to go back to making the rich the villains, because they are. Just a thought. Let's talk about this on the other side. So believe it or not, there is a what you can do with this. Folks like Tim Pool try to appeal to the easiest possible audience they can. They try to reach low. What form does that take? Kids, a lot of the time. People who only watch them. People who don't have a very diverse news diet. People who don't really cotton well to studies. The Andrew Tates of the world, they do the same thing. The Joe Rogans, they do the same thing. They go for an audience which is either not old enough, literally just not old enough to understand the details of these things, or has demonstrated an aversion to looking things up. It is one of the reasons why I greatly enjoy when this audience corrects me, which happens from time to time. And it's one of, I think, the wonderful things about the left. Why don't we become like MAGA? Because we are constantly trying to eat each other, and that is our strength. We keep each other strong like that. But it makes it real hard to appeal to a 13, 14-year-old, because we're not going to be able to boil things down. As I say this, I don't know why this would be. Well, we haven't so far been able to boil things down to digestible bites because we are talking about big political concepts. Maybe there's something to be said there. Maybe somebody should make an effort to hang out with these hip kids. But the good news is, we have Tim Pool, who's ensuring that the right wing looks incredibly dorky to them. So at least there's that. And what can you do? Well, gosh, anytime somebody brings up Tim Pool, make fun of that big damn nerd. Anybody who's a fan of his should be embarrassed to admit it. Show him that clip. Why not?